There's this great line that says leadership and technology isn't a ladder, it's a winding path. And that's really the heart of Camille Fournier's amazing book, The Manager's Path. It's basically a guide that sticks with you through every single twist and turn of a tech career. We're talking from mentoring your first junior engineer all the way up to handling the chaos of the executive suite. So in this explainer, we're going to walk that path together, and we'll break down Fournier's biggest insights for leaders who want to use both their heart and their mind.
All right, so here's how we're going to break it down. We're going to look at this journey in 6 key stages, starting right at the beginning with the foundations of management and taking it all the way up to executive vision. So let's dive right in.
So where do you even start on this path to management? Well, you might be surprised by the answer. According to Fournier, it all begins in a place you might not expect, by first learning how to be managed well yourself. It's this really simple but kind of profound idea, right? That great leadership actually starts with being a great follower. Think about it. Your one-on-ones, getting feedback, talking about your career. Fournier's point is, these aren't just meetings you have to show up for. No, they are your opportunities to grab the reins of your own growth. And that brings us to this super important piece of advice she gives. It's really all about taking ownership. She puts it so bluntly, I love it. If you're not getting what you need from your manager, ask for it. That really makes you stop and think, doesn't it? Like, are you really pushing for your own development? And what about that relationship with your boss? Is it a real partnership, or does it just feel transactional? It's such a great reminder that true leadership really starts with knowing yourself.
Okay, so you've started to get a handle on being managed. What's the next step? Well, for a lot of people in tech, those first baby steps into leadership come through mentoring someone and then maybe taking on that infamous tech lead role. Now, Fournier really challenges us here to think about mentoring as way more than just answering questions. It's about guiding someone through all the messy, confusing parts of a project. It's about building up their confidence and showing them what it means to be a pro. And what's really cool is her point that it's a two-way street. The mentor gets just as much out of it, learning how to communicate better and how to lead without any official authority. This is where you start to build up what she calls the real currency of leadership, influence. This is probably a good time to just take a second and think back. Who were your mentors when you were starting out? What did they teach you? The good stuff and maybe the not so good stuff too. So from mentoring, let's talk about the tech lead role. Oh man, this is probably one of the most misunderstood jobs out there. Because you're still supposed to be a top coder, right? But now, all of a sudden, you're also coordinating everything, you're playing referee in conflicts, and you're making these huge architectural decisions. Fournier just nails the central problem here. How in the world do you balance your own coding with all these new leadership duties? And you can kind of see that pull right here. It's this constant tug of war between getting your hands dirty with code and handling the bigger picture leadership stuff. So what do? Fournier's advice is super practical. She says you have to be absolutely ruthless with your priorities, delegate like your job depends on it, which it does, and get really, really good at saying no. Really, it all boils down to this huge mental shift. Being a tech lead is not about being the best coder, it's about enabling the team to succeed. This whole phase of becoming a tech lead, it's a huge rite of passage. I mean, it's the first time your leadership is really on display for everyone to see, and that can feel pretty vulnerable. Okay, so from tech lead, the path takes a really sharp turn. Now we're getting into becoming a full-on people manager. We're talking about going from being a teammate, a peer, to someone who actually shapes the culture of the team. That jump from being just another person on the team to being their manager, wow. That is one of the most emotionally intense moments in a career. And Fournier gets into all the practical stuff, hiring, reviews, but she also goes deep on the emotional side of it all. Like, how do you give really tough feedback? What do you do about your old friendships? How do you build trust when your role has completely changed? Because your job has fundamentally shifted. You're not solving coding problems anymore. You're solving people problems. And listen, this is a struggle for every single manager. Where's that line between being empathetic and, holding people accountable? What does fairness even look like when you're the one in charge? So to help with all this, Fournier has this awesome, super practical tool she calls a manager README. It's basically what it sounds like, a document where you just lay it all out. Your management style, what you expect, what you value. It's such a simple idea, but it's so powerful for being transparent and just getting everyone aligned from the get-go. And this idea leads to what might be my favorite quote in the whole book. Culture is not a perk. It's the operating system of your team. Just wow. It's such a wake-up call for managers, right? That it's your job to build an environment where people can do amazing work and actually be themselves.
Okay, so you figured out how to manage one team. What's next? The next big leap is scaling that leadership to manage multiple teams. And let me tell you, the job completely transforms. You go from being a direct manager to more of an orchestrator.
Yeah, when you're overseeing several teams, you can't be in the weeds anymore. Your focus has to shift from the day-to-day stuff to the big picture. Fournier talks about really important tools here, like skip-level meetings or getting your teams to actually talk to each other. And she has this huge warning. Whatever you do, do not fall into the micromanagement trap. Your job now is to build the systems for success, not manage the individuals. It's all about finding clarity in all that chaos.
This brings up a massive challenge for any senior leader, right? How do you know what's going on without constantly looking over everyone's shoulder? What kind of systems can you actually build that help you scale trust as your organization grows?
At the end of the day, it's about this really profound change in how you see yourself. It's this quote, "Your success is measured by the success of your managers." You're not the one hitting home runs anymore. You're the coach who's developing the all-star players. Okay, from managing managers, we're now climbing to the absolute peak of the path. We're talking about executive-level stuff, crafting a vision, leading from the very top. Yep, this is the big leagues. And up here, the whole game changes. Leadership is now all about strategy. Fournier shares some hard-earned wisdom here about setting a vision that people actually care about, dealing with stakeholders, and playing the political game in the boardroom. But she's also brutally honest about how tough it is. The loneliness, always being under a microscope, and just that insane pressure to deliver. It really forces you to look in the mirror and ask some pretty deep questions. When everything is on the line, what values are you actually leaning on? And when everything feels chaotic and uncertain, how do you possibly keep your feet on the ground? And this might be the most powerful line in the whole book when it comes to executive leadership. Culture is the shadow you cast as a leader. That's kind of haunting, isn't it? It's a reminder that at this level, culture doesn't just happen, it's literally a reflection of who you are. So here we are, at the end of the path. Or maybe it's just the beginning of a new one. This last part is all about seeing leadership not as some destination you finally get to, but as something you practice for the rest of your life. You know, when you get right down to it, the manager's path isn't just a book. It's more like a companion. It's something that walks right alongside you through that whole messy, wonderful, and totally transformative journey of leadership. Fournier's voice is just so practical, but also really kind. She's not just handing you a bunch of tools. She's giving you a whole new way to see things. So look, it doesn't matter if you're mentoring your very first intern or you're trying to steer a huge company through a massive change. This book is just an essential reminder of one simple, powerful truth. Leadership is a craft. And every single step you take on that path, it all matters.